All right, the first thing, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of August 2017. I'd like to add to that the minutes of our special meeting last week, September 15th. You have a copy of those in front of you. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept them as read. Second.
All right, any questions on those minutes? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Financials of 2017 are in your packet. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any questions on financials? Executive Director, any comments?
Just a reminder about our numbers fluctuating because of the new market tax credits.
We're really using those up.
Yes, we are. Doug brings invoices all the time.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next up, our County Administrator, Doug Stanley. Thanks, sir.
A few items to report on this morning. Purple Golf Club, we had received one proposal from our RFP for management of Purple Golf Club. That is currently under review by our Golf Course Advisory Committee. Development Review Committee met on August 23rd. Some of the projects talked about. Board of Supervisors this week approved 2 conditional use permits for Pete Walker and Frank Road for property they own off Winter's Court, which is the road that kind of goes behind the fairgrounds and the jail back there. They wanted to be in a position to be able to respond to developers that want space for laydown stuff. So that would, now the permit in hand, they can respond quickly. Marriott Town Place Suites, they're continuing to work on the new hotel. Just about finished up with the kind of the foundation, the basement walls on that project. Again, we're about a year out from completion. 34522, of course, you guys approved the contract last week, and Jennifer and Benoni, we've been all scrambling trying to get contracts signed, bonds in place, and permits. We've got a pre-con meeting that's scheduled for next Tuesday. And we're hoping to get that project up and moving as quick as possible. Torrey, they're working on their 5,200 square foot expansion for their R&D facility. In town, they discussed Pepper Creek Coffee and Tea, moving beside, I guess the old wine and duck space beside the theater. A brew pub is to be announced, a restaurant for B&G Goods, the EDA's Afghan Board of Architecture review application, and the West Main Street 19 Federal projects. Committee will meet again on September 27th. Page 2, reassessment will be starting up. Contractor that's based over at the youth center. They will be starting work, I think now on October 2nd, to start field work. The main thing is just that you'll be seeing people out with, they'll have a county ID badge, they have a car that says real estate assessment on the side of the vehicle. Again, one of the main reasons that we have to make sure our assessments are as close to 100% as possible is because particularly that directly affects Public Service Corporation taxes, i.e. the DuPont facility is the biggest one. If it's like a multiplier, so if we're close to 90% now, so you know, they come up with their assessment rate, they multiply it by that assessment ratio, and they may lose 10% of what they would have to pay to us. As that number slides down over the years, there'll be less and less tax for Dominion, so we want to make sure that number is as close to 100% as possible. So we're anxious to get that started. We've got a couple roofing projects, both the youth center on Commerce and the former library, the community center roofs are just got wrapped up. They're finishing up the trim work on the roofs, and we're in the process of replacing the ceiling grid at the youth center. Like Ressie, that building has always had kind of a musty smell to it. So new roof, we put a new dehumidifier in the system in it, and put a new ceiling grid making a difference. New market tax credits, the Ressie Jeffries project. We're really in the process of wrapping that up. The last thing that will be delivered is the bus canopy and parent pickup canopy will be delivered sometime in October, we hope. That's one of the last major pieces. They're out there doing punch list stuff. next couple of weeks. The K House, out on 522, we had received our $25,000 matching grant for the roofing project we did last year. We just got $10,000 to repoint all the chimneys and foundation that was in that house up. We are, Monday, our building committee will be getting 2 proposals for a new Vermont fire station, both from 1-story and 2-story options. And we'll hopefully be able to make a recommendation to the board and get moving forward on that project. I already talked about the revenue sharing project. Billy's project, Mooring Ford Bridge, is about, it's financially it was about 50% this year, but it's actually far along. So they finished all the beams have been delivered and installed. They're actually starting to form up little parapet walls and the get ready to pour the deck. So that project over the next 30, 45 days, we'll see a lot of activity. South Fork's getting really close, and of course, yesterday and today, they're pulling out that Jersey wall, the concrete barrier in the middle, so they can start to, get the bridge ready to open up. So you're really looking at, about a month here or less to be open to traffic and intersection. They'll be switching traffic over to the new QRI and then rebuilding an old section of 55 that's in between that short length there. But in November, the entire project will be wrapping up and completed. Let's see, trolley project, we're just continuing to try to get the word out about trolley service. And the other big thing that we're working with, the Port of Virginia, Norfolk Southern, and VDOT on submission for a Tiger grant, which is federal transportation grant, dollars to build an overpass or flyover for Rockland Road. Also, as part of that, the port will ask for funds for expanding track on the inside of the port to expand their capacity. Of course, with Amazon, they're going to end up with probably 10,000 containers a year going up to that new facility, so it's going to start pushing them a little bit. The other commercial project is the Royal Farms convenience store. They're just north of Wells Fargo. It's my understanding that pad will be turned over from the site contractor to the contractor on Monday, so you'll start to see actual building construction in the next several weeks start on that project. Of course, they've been hauling all that material over to Rockland Park, and we've been filling holes and building athletic fields with that material. That's worked out pretty well. So that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
I'd like to make a comment on the 34522 trolley project. I was in a regional meeting this week with all the northern area communities that we have and Valley Health, and where we're discussing stuff for students, but one of the things was transportation, and another, I don't remember who it was, from another community pointed out that project as a real shining star of making an attempt to try to get people where they need to be.
Yeah, hopefully we can get ridership up. I mean, we're averaging probably 100, 120 riders a week, and if we can build in that number.
Yeah.
And I think one, it serves a couple populations. One is the folks in town that need to get like to a Walmart or a Target that don't have regular access, and the students to LFCC or people, you got 2,600 routes, Jennifer, on the corridor, and that kind of commercial stuff. So there's a lot of potential for folks in town to be able to work. Because right now, we had guys at the jail who were paying $10 each way on the cab ride. And they would charge them that, even if there was like 3 guys in the car, each of them would be charged $10.
It's not like Uber.
Yeah, it's not like Uber. So,
The car was worth about $10.
yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more
Yeah, we had to push it.
cost effective. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Mr. Waltz.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just want to go through a few projects here and highlight some that are on my list. First of all, the corridor water upgrade study. We did finish our PER this spring, and since this spring, we've been looking at different opportunities to fund this project.
Hey, great.
And we did bring it back to council just in the past couple of weeks to discuss our next steps for this project. What we're doing right now at the present time, before we move forward with a permanent design, is to do a hydraulic study, a water hydraulic study, to make sure that the redundant line that we're going to be connecting to the corridor will be sufficient to meet our needs for the minimum resources. We anticipate that the hydraulic study will take about 2 months before we can make a final determination of the redundant water line that we want to put up with the corridor. During the same time, we're also looking at funding options and seeing what the impact will be with in-town customers and out-of-town customers. The Afton Inn, as everybody's aware of, the BAR denied the application for demolition on September 12th. The EDA did file an appeal on that Friday, September 18th. And then council discussed it at the September 18th work session. And then town council will take up the appeal this coming Monday on the 28th of September. The community development business grant, we did submit all that paperwork in by March. Staff did a tremendous job along with all the volunteers. Unfortunately, last Friday, we found out that we were not selected, or our grant wasn't funded for this year. So we're now getting together with staff and trying to figure out what our next steps are. Some of the areas that we felt that were getting addressed were parking, and one of the things that I was looking forward to was a bathroom down at the commons area. I think it's way overdue. So staff will be getting together to determine what we do next. The Chrysler Road Bridge replacement, we ran into some issues over the summer trying to get a construction easement. We were able to get through that hurdle. Unfortunately, when the bid went out on the street, we only got one bid back, and it was double the estimate of construction costs. So we thought, well, maybe that's a fluke. So we reissued the RFP a couple weeks later. This time we got two bids, but both were still double the construction costs. So we're going back and trying to reevaluate why the market is the way it is and what makes this project different than what we anticipated. So we're back, I wouldn't say back to the drawing board, but we got to determine what the true cost is for that bridge replacement. The Chrysler Road Trail project, we are awarding the contract to Lance Construction out of Winchester. Once we get the contract finalized, we'll issue a notice to proceed. Their estimate right now for once they get their notice to proceed is 120 days of construction. So, the Happy Creek Road Phase 2 project, we're still waiting for VDOT to release the funds that are remaining from the Phase 1 project. We're starting to compile our information together to get an RFP out for the design of the road. Council has directed me to make this a priority project. Obviously, since the Leaf Run Parkway's been up and running now since June, we still have that missing piece there on Happy Creek that we need to take care of. The IT federal project, we just actually recently submitted our comments back to Bowler on the site plan. Very minimal comments, so we expect for them to respond shortly. As well as on the Main Street extension, they're kind of running parallel with each other because it's very imperative that the West Main Street is designed to interface with Lot 6, because we did have some issues with elevations, so it's important for those two projects to mesh together. The new police department, actually we got that RFP out on the street. We did receive 4 bids for the contract. Unfortunately, we still did see some price increases from our construction estimates again, approximately about $800,000 more than what we anticipated. So we have been doing some value engineering to try to determine what we can do for cost savings. And so we're in that process right now. We bring it back to council to discuss those bids and determine what our next steps are. Property maintenance code, that's been going on for some time. Council did hold a public information meeting in August 28th. We had three citizens that come up and speak, all in favor of it. And then council on Monday night is going to have a public hearing for the first reading of that code on September 28th. And we continue to work with Washington Gas and Light. We're working in different folds. I'm working on the generation aspect, possibly bringing in a medium-sized gas generator here in town, because it's part of their business plan that they have to get that, or it has to be part of their 3-prong effect for it to be able to bring it across the river. They're looking at one as getting an industrial or customer, some generation project, and third is a greenfield, new development, bringing gas to the home. So They were giving me some indications by the end of the year, they would pull the trigger on if they were going to spend some real money on some real engineering. So we will see where that lies at the end of the year.
We had a planning meeting with them at the beginning of the week, and they seem to be aggressively moving forward.
Well, they got the green light from the State Corporation Commission to allow them to do a pilot project. And it was really a vague comment, a vague statement from the SEC, so they're taking it and running with it. So,
Good.
yeah, it's very good. The last thing I want to talk about is the wastewater treatment plant. Almost after a little over 3 years of construction, we're actually seeing the end of this project. We're still on target for November 18th. I'll answer any questions.
All right, thank you, appreciate that. Chambers on the agenda.
They have their Brews and Blues Festival tomorrow.
All right. Executive Director, Property Update Report.
All right, you guys have my written report in your packet. We are still waiting on DEQ for the workforce housing. Once we receive that, we will deed the property to the Akins Group. We did receive an email from David Frank on Monday stating that we can buy nutrient credits. Not us, the Akins Group can buy nutrient credits, and then that will make DEQ happy and we can move forward with the project, kind of like we did on the 34522 revenue sharing project. The new program is if you buy these nutrient credits, they're not requiring all of the bioretention filters, and the cost of the project goes down at that point if you purchase those nutrient credits. So we'll wait to hear back from the nutrient bank to see if there are any available credits that we can purchase, and if so, then the Akins Group will move forward with that.
So that's what they would like to do.
Skyline Regional Justice Training Academy. Because of the wait that we've had, this has been over a year now that we've been working on this and waiting on DEQ comments, site plan approvals. The costs are now starting to creep up. And as everyone remembers, we have an amount that we have to stick to. So we're trying to figure out a way to stick with that $8 million number. If the costs come back that we can't stick with that number, then we have to look at our options at that point.
And they've already spent over $600,000.
Yes. IT Federal, as Joe mentioned, the town has sent back some comments. Bowler responded to that yesterday with an email to Jimmy, I believe, with some comments. So we're waiting to hear back on that. The Afton Inn, Monday, we will go before council for our appeal. See if that moves forward or not. We're still working with Mode Developers. We still have an active LOI with them. So if the appeal moves forward or not, we still have an active LOI with Mode Developers.
I'm reading about another company that has offered to rehab or remodel. Have we investigated them?
We have.
Thoroughly? And you've seen other things that they have done in rehabbing old buildings, and
Yes.
all that's been looked at, and still we think we need to demolish.
We need
Okay, I
to
mean,
stick
that's-
with Mode Developers at this point.
Okay.
We have an open agreement with them. You can't break that.
B&G Goods Store, we are working with the prospect for that. West Main Street Extended, we continue to work with the town and wait on the comments for that road. It was asked at the liaison committee meeting last night about the funding. VDOT has agreed to a revenue sharing for that project. So once we get started on that, there will be money available for VDOT. Doug already touched on the Development Review Committee meeting. One of the things that has happened since the last meeting is we met with a DuPont representative. There was a large settlement with DuPont, a $50 million settlement where they had contaminated the river, and so they had a $50 million lawsuit to contribute back to clean up the environment, to to make things better. So we met with the representative, and we believe we may qualify for some of that money to put in some trails along the Conservancy Park here at the Avtech site. The county was looking at doing that, so we feel this may be a great way for us to get some funds through that settlement to help offset those costs. The Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission is going to make it part of their grant application. And we have to have that in by the end of this month, and I believe they're going to be making a decision in the next 2 months. We also identified a grant opportunity for the town. I emailed Joe, and he gave me the green light to proceed to help with offset some cost of equipment for the new police department. This is up to $25,000 through the USDA, and it's used strictly for equipment, so radios, computers, any type of technology you're putting in a new police department. We can apply now, get a decision in October or November. We can then apply again in February for an additional $25,000. So we plan to do that as well. And hopefully we can get the town some funds to help offset those costs. We hosted a meeting with the Department of Commerce delegation. Doug and I gave a presentation on economic development, the inland port. We had the meeting here. There are 14 different countries represented. They had a translator here, and it was really neat to see how they were going back and forth. But their questions were about the mountains. How do we use the mountains to our benefit when we're recruiting companies or tourists to the area? Because that is the one thing all of them noticed were our beautiful mountains, and they said you should use that in your marketing. So it's interesting to get their perspective on what our big marketing tool should be. Yeah, we do. Then you just have a list of our liabilities and where we stand with each project financially, and then just a snapshot of our budget in here in our loan programs. Unless you guys have any questions.
Questions for Jennifer? Anything going on? As always, there's an awful lot behind the scenes happening. All right, we'll move on to any old business. I don't see any listed here. Any coming up? Questions on old business stuff? Staff comments?
Well, I would like to take a minute and thank Marla for all of her work. This will be her last official board meeting. She is getting ready to go into retirement. So thank you for the past 20 years. It has been fun.
It has been fun.
So thank you and enjoy.
Enjoy. Absolutely. Any director comments? Director? Is this it here?
Yes.
All right, to Jennifer's comments regarding Marla, we do have a resolution to read. Anybody else want to read it? I'll be happy to read this. Be my honor. Marla, if you want to come over here, please. All right. Whereas the governing body of the Industrial Development Authority acknowledges with grateful appreciation the dedicated service performed by Marla Taylor Jones as Director of Marketing of the Industrial Development Authority, and whereas Marla Taylor Jones has served the County of Warren and Town of Front Royal for 20 years as the Director of Marketing and Industrial Development Authority and now departs this position, and whereas the governing body, in accepting this departure, does so with the realization that Marla Taylor Jones has distinguished herself during her term as Director of Marketing by the conscientious manner and the degree of excellence with which she has served all the citizens of Front Royal and Warren County, thereby warranting the official action taken by the governing body of the Industrial Development Authority regarding this departure, merit the formal recognition of the governing body of a job exceptionally well done, which has earned Marla Taylor Jones the gratitude of the entire Board of Directors of the Industrial Development Authority and the citizens of Warren, Front Royal, and Warren County, Virginia. Now, therefore, be it unanimously resolved by the Board of Directors of the Industrial Development Authority of the Town of Front Royal and the County of Warren that the recognition of the departure of Marla Taylor Jones be made a portion of the permanent record to be placed in the bound book of minutes, thereby perpetuating the years of dedicated service performed by Marla Taylor Jones for all the citizens of this great town and county. Congratulations. Thank you.
Check's taped to the back of it, Mark.
We'll watch.
Don't you get paid for something?
You do. All right, any other director comments? We're ready to go into closed session.
Mr. Reed.